Tale about Zena, a humble village girl mistreated by her stepmother and mocked by others. Sent away to fetch water while the village prepares for the arrival of Prince Tayo-Ade, Zena unexpectedly encounters a mysterious stranger at the stream, unaware he is the crown prince in disguise. Her quiet strength and humility leave a deep impression on him, as jealousy brews and royal betrayal threatens her life. Zena's courage leads her from the shadows of servanthood to the light of queendom, with themes of love, betrayal, bravery, and destiny. This story is a rich blend of African royalty, Cinderella transformation, and the triumph of hope over hardship.
Hello guys, haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe now, hit the like button, and leave a comment to help.
The village buzzed with anticipation. Prince Tayo-Ade, heir to the mighty throne of Obodo Ao, was visiting nearby villages to find a bride, not for beauty, but for heart. And today, his path would brush against Oranla. In compounds across the village, chaos bloomed. Girls leapt from their beds before sunrise, their mothers brushing charcoal through their eyebrows, dusting cheeks with crushed hibiscus, and rubbing lips with palm oil until they gleamed like polished garnet. Colorful wrappers, ankara, and imported silk were ironed and draped carefully. Coral beads adorned some, while others borrowed golden trinkets from hidden boxes. Mirrors propped against doorframes reflected laughter and twirling figures, the air alive with excitement. But at the edge of the village, in a clay-walled home shadowed by plantain trees, there was no joy, no laughter, no perfume. Zena, barefoot and quiet, swept the dusty compound under the stern gaze of her stepmother, Mama Tayo. Her stepsisters, the vain and shallow twins, Fahintala and Gozi, twirled before a broken mirror propped against a plantain tree. "Mama, do you think the prince will see me first?" Fahintala asked, applying shea butter. Gozi giggled, "He'll pick whoever's standing closest, so don't block me." Zena's heart raced with stories of the prince's kindness, but her hope shattered when Mama Tayo's voice snapped, "Zena, take the water pot and go to Apon stream. We need water." Zena froze. "Mama, please, the prince. You think you belong with the likes of him?" Mama Tayo sneered, gripping Zena's chin. "You were born from nothing, and that's what you'll always be. Go. Now." Her stepsisters snickered as Zena wiped her hands on her old wrapper, tied a scarf over her hair, and lifted the heavy pot. The road to Apon stream wound through bush and field, a catwalk for well-dressed maidens who laughed as Zena passed. "She's going to the stream, not the square? What a waste of a face." The laughter stung, but Zena walked on, the songs of celebration, drums thumping, women ululating, fading behind her. She steadied herself. She was just a servant, even in her own home. At Apon stream, the sun filtered through leaves in warm, dappled light. Birds darted across the canopy, their wings flashing. Its waters sparkling like 1,000 stars, she knelt to fill her earthenware pot, the cool water soothing her blistered fingers. As she balanced her pot, it wobbled and rolled into the stream. She lunged, but a firm, gentle hand retrieved it first. Lost in thought, she froze. She didn't hear the approaching footsteps until a voice startled her. "You almost lost it," a tall young man in plain clothes said, smiling. He handed the pot back, water dripping down his arm. Zena blinked. "Thank you." There was something regal about him, his sharp, warm eyes studying her. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zena," she replied quietly. "That's a beautiful name. A fitting name for one who shines so brightly, despite labor and isolation. Why are you out here alone? You're not with the others at the village square." "I was sent to fetch water." He tilted his head. "But you wanted to be there." Zena hesitated. "It doesn't matter. The prince wouldn't choose someone like me." "Maybe the prince isn't looking for wrappers or beads," he said softly. "Maybe he's looking for something else." The prince studied her for a moment. There was something about her, an honesty, a simplicity that he hadn't seen in the other girls who had thrown themselves at him in other villages. Trumpets and drums echoed from the village. "Will you be at the square later?" he asked. "I don't think so," Zena replied. "That's a shame," he said gently. "The prince might miss something special." "I hope to see you again, Zena," he said, his smile lingering as he turned back toward the village, leaving Zena trembling with a strange new feeling. Hope. And though she didn't know it, the man who'd just helped her was Prince Tayo-Ade himself, traveling in disguise to find a queen with heart over titles. Whispers of envy. Back in Oranla, the square thrummed with music as drummers beat their instruments and villagers danced in colorful swirls of joy, as Prince Tayo-Ade, dressed in regal attire of gold and deep green, dismounted his horse with a quiet grace. He greeted the villagers. Heads bowed. Mouths fell silent. The girls of Oranla paraded like feathers in wind. Fairytale and Gozi, wrapped in imported silk and jangling jewelry, fought for his gaze, their laughter loud and forced. "He looked at me first," Fairytale hissed. "His eyes lingered on me," Gozi countered, but the prince's face remained unreadable. He shook hands, nodded politely, but his heart had long left the square. He wasn't here for flattery, he sought authenticity, something rare and precious. He could still see the girl by the stream, Zena, with unpainted lips and strong hands, her quiet strength, her unassuming grace. In Mama Tayo's hut, Zena returned to a barrage of chores. Fairytale and Gozi regaled their mother with tales of the prince's charm, each claiming his favor. "He smiled at me," Fairytale boasted, tossing her beaded braids. "No, he looked at me longer," Gozi countered, her eyes narrowing. "He'll marry me, I just know it," Fairytale said. Zena worked silently, grinding maize, but her mind replayed the stranger's words. His kindness felt like a dream, one she dared not cling to. She stayed silent, but inside her, confusion bloomed. Who was he? Why did his words follow me like a shadow? When Mama Tayo barked her name again, Zena jerked upright. "Stop dreaming. The prince might return tomorrow. This house must shine like the palace." Zena returned to work, but her thoughts were tangled. That man by the stream, the way he stood, the way he spoke. And suddenly, a terrible realization flickered across her mind. No, it couldn't be. Could it? A chill crawled up her spine. Because if she was right, if that stranger was who she now suspected, then everything was about to change. The return. At the palace, Prince Tayo-Ade sat in the high chamber, surrounded by shimmering tapestries and voices that felt more like echoes than conversation. His advisors spoke of the day's festivities, of noble daughters who had paraded like peacocks, vying for his favor. But his mind was elsewhere. He could still see Zena, kneeling at the stream, the sun catching the glint of water in her hands. She hadn't smiled to impress. She hadn't performed for his title. She had simply been. "Your Highness," his chief advisor cut through the air like a blade. "Have you made any decisions about the women you met today?" Prince Tayo-Ade blinked slowly, dragged back to the present. "Not yet. I need more time." The advisor nodded stiffly, masking his frustration. "Very well. We shall proceed to the next village tomorrow, unless you say otherwise." The prince gave a shallow nod, but in his heart, the decision was made. He would return to Oranla. He had to see Zena again, and not by chance this time. The stranger's crown. The sun dipped behind the hills of Oranla, casting the village in a hush of orange and shadow. Most of the day's festivities had faded, but whispers still drifted through the streets like smoke. The prince barely smiled. He didn't choose anyone today. Maybe he's already made his decision, in secret.
Hello guys, haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe now, hit the like button, and leave a comment to help.
Whispers re-echoed. Inside Mama Tayo's compound, Zena scrubbed the courtyard stones until her knuckles ached. The scent of stew wafted from the kitchen, but no one offered her a taste. Fahintala and Gozi sat under the plantain tree, arguing over who had caught the prince's eye longer. Zena said nothing, but her mind was loud. His voice, his walk, the way he called me special. She tried to shake the thought. It couldn't be. He was just a traveler, just a kind man. Then, a sound. Drums. Slow. Rhythmic. Royal. Her heart stopped. No, she whispered. He wouldn't come here. But outside, feet rushed past the compound. Voices rose. Gasps. Excitement. And then, a knock on the gate. The royal arrival. The compound door swung open. Prince Tayo-Ade, now unmistakable in embroidered emerald robes, stood at the threshold, surrounded by guards, torchbearers, and a sea of silent villagers pressing close behind. Zena dropped the rag in her hand. Her knees went weak. It was him, the man from the stream. Only now, he was dressed in a crown. Mama Tayo froze, her eyes bulging with disbelief. "Why, your highness," she stammered. "Forgive me, is something wrong?" Prince Tayo-Ade's voice cut through the air like rain through dry leaves. "I've come to speak with Zena." The villagers gasped in unison. Fahintala stumbled backward. Gozi covered her mouth. Zena felt the ground sway beneath her feet. "No, this can't be real. He was just a man at the stream. Dead silence fell over the square. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. All eyes turned to Zena. She stood still, her body rigid. "Go inside, Zena," Mama Tayo snapped, her smile stretched tight and false. "Surely His Highness meant one of my daughters." "Fahintala. Gozi." Prince Tayo-Ade's tone grew colder, more resolute. "Thank you, Mama Tayo. But I came to speak with Zena." Mama Tayo hesitated, her lips twitching in defeat. "She has chores." "Zena," the prince interrupted gently but firmly, "will you step out and speak with me?" The villagers gasped. This was no polite request. It was a royal command. Zena's feet felt like stone, but the prince's eyes met hers, steady, kind, unafraid. And suddenly, she wasn't afraid either. Zena's heartbeat pounded in her ears. Her fingers trembled at her sides. She looked at Mama Tayo, whose eyes were now wild with rage. She looked at the prince, the stranger who had seen her, helped her, chosen her. "Yes, my prince," she whispered. The crowd parted like the sea, murmuring with disbelief and curiosity. Zena stepped forward. One step. Then another. Fahintala hissed under her breath, "You're just a servant." Zena didn't look back. She kept her eyes on the ground, her face hot with shame and awe. She was about to stand alone with a prince. The truth revealed. In a quiet corner of the compound, shielded from the crowd, the prince turned to her. His face had softened again, the way it had by the stream. But now she saw it clearly. The bearing, the voice, the calm power in his stance. It had been him, all along. "You're the prince," she said, barely breathing the words. He smiled. "I wanted to see you without the weight of a crown. To see who you truly were, and who I am, when I'm with you." Zena stumbled backward, hand to her mouth. "But I spoke to you like a stranger. I didn't bow, And that's why I remembered you," he interrupted gently. "Because you didn't try to impress me. You were honest. Rare." Tears pricked the corners of her eyes. You remembered me?" "Zena," he said softly, "I haven't stopped thinking about you since I left the stream." The silence between them was thick with emotion. The drums in the distance faded. Zena shook her head, overwhelmed. I'm no one, my prince. I have no fine name. No fine clothes. I fetch water. I sweep. Exactly, he said. That's why I'm here. Because you are real. And that is what this kingdom needs. An invitation that changes everything. He stepped closer. There's a gathering at the palace tomorrow. I want you there. Not as a guest. Not as a servant. But as someone I hope to know better. Zena's voice shook. If my stepmother allows. She won't have to. He smiled, his gaze unwavering. This time, you don't need permission to rise. Zena looked up at him. And in that moment, the girl who had once been invisible became unforgettable. The aftermath. As he walked away, the whispers exploded like wildfire. Zena turned, slowly, and faced Mama Tayo, who stood like a statue, her face thunderous. Fahintala and Gozi glared, stunned and shaking. You've embarrassed me, Mama Tayo hissed through clenched teeth. We'll talk about this later. Zena bowed her head and picked up the vegetables she had dropped, but her fingers were steady. Because for the first time in her life, she had been chosen. And in her chest, where fear used to live, a small, bright fire had begun to grow. A sinister plot. In Mama Tayo's compound, Zena cleaned yam peelings, her thoughts on the prince's kind voice. The gate creaked, and 3 men in dark tunics appeared. We bring a message from the palace, one said. Prince Tayo-Ade wants to see Zena. Her heart raced, but something felt off. No royal crest, no guards. Mama Tayo smirked. Don't keep royalty waiting. Zena stepped out, and the gate slammed shut. On the bush path, a man grabbed her arm, pulling a black cloth from his pocket. Wait, what are you doing? Zena struggled, but a hand clamped over her mouth. The last thing she saw was the moon above the palm trees before darkness took her. The next morning, in the palace courtyard, Prince Tayo-Ade waited, his advisor nervous. We sent no messenger to Oranla, the advisor said. Tayo-Ade's eyes narrowed. Then where is she? He mounted his horse. Send a search party. Now. Zena woke in a dimly lit hut, hands tied. Outside, her captors argued. She's just a girl, one said. She's the one the prince noticed, another replied. We were paid to make her disappear. Zena forced herself to stay calm. Who paid them? In the capital, Lady Amaka, a noblewoman in crimson lace, sipped palm wine. Her daughter Onom pouted. Why hasn't the prince called for me? Lady Amaka smirked. Someone got in the way, but I've taken care of her. To her guard, she said, make sure she's never found. In the hut, Zena rubbed her bonds against a broken bamboo piece. Snap. Her hands were free. She waited. A young captor, Danjuma, entered with food. What's your name? She asked calmly. Danjuma, he replied, surprised. I know you have a mother, a sister. Would you want them treated like this? He hesitated. I don't want to be part of this. Then help me, Zena said. He looked at the door, then back at her, and nodded. The heart of the enemy. In the hut, Zena sat by the mud wall, her wrists raw but her mind sharp. Danjuma had left her bonds loose and brought water. Outside, her captors argued, Danjuma's voice hesitant. Zena knew tonight was her chance. In a flashback, Lady Amaka paced her marbled courtyard, fuming. The prince was supposed to choose Onom. To her guard, she hissed, silence her. Do whatever it takes. Danjuma entered the hut. I can't take this anymore, he muttered. Zena stood. Help me get out. I'll make sure no one knows. He handed her a tattered wrapper. Cover your face. Stay close. They crept out the back entrance under night's shadow. Bush paths twisted like veins, danger lurking with every step. A shout broke the silence. "She's gone!" Torches flared, dogs barked. Danjuma grabbed Zena's hand. "Run!" Branches tore at their clothes, thorns scratched Zena's legs, but she ran, not just for survival, but for justice. At the palace gates, they stumbled forward. "I must speak with the prince," Zena gasped. In his chamber, Tayo-Ade paced, sleepless. His advisor announced, "She's here." Zena stood, scratched and torn but alive. "They tried to make me disappear," she said, trembling but clear. "I heard a name, Lady Amaka." Gasps filled the royal hall as Zena, flanked by guards and Danjuma, spoke. "I didn't come back for myself. I came so no one else would be silenced." The advisors, once skeptical, exchanged stunned looks. In her mansion, Lady Amaka's servant whispered, "She escaped. She smashed her goblet. Then she's more dangerous than I thought." The next morning, Zena stood with Tayo-Ade beneath the palace arch, her tattered wrapper a badge of survival. He addressed the crowd. This girl was kidnapped, silenced. But she returned with truth. He turned to them. "How many voices like hers have we ignored?" Nobles shifted uncomfortably. Lady Amaka, veiled in the crowd, watched, her lips curling. In Oranla, a palace messenger declared, "Zena is to be presented, not as a servant, but as a witness to injustice." Mama Tayo's eyes widened. "This is madness. She is nothing." Ngozi whispered, "What if she tells them everything?" In the village square, drummers beat for justice. Zena appeared in a plain but powerful wrapper of her own weaving, scars uncovered, eyes unafraid. "I was sent to the stream by cruelty," she said. "I was meant to vanish." But silence helps no one. The crowd murmured. "Who took you?" a man shouted. Zena paused, then said, "I heard a name, Lady Amaka. And others who feared a girl like me could rise." Lady Amaka stepped forward, throwing off her veil. "Lies. She's a nobody." But Tayo-Ade stood beside Zena. "The only manipulation is what you tried to bury. She has more grace in her truth than you in your silk." Guards seized Lady Amaka. "You're no longer welcome in this kingdom," the prince said coldly. The crowd erupted in applause. Villagers approached Zena. "I'm sorry," an old woman said. "You showed us true strength," a man added. Even Fahintala and Ngozi lowered their eyes in shame. That night, on the palace balcony, Zena stared into the darkness. Tayo-Ade approached. "You've changed everything. You didn't just return, you lit a fire." She smiled faintly. "I just wanted to be seen." "You were," he said. "And now the kingdom sees you too."
Hello guys, haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe now, hit the like button, and leave a comment to help.
The Grand Feast. The morning sun cast golden light over Oranla. A royal messenger stopped at Mama Tayo's compound. Zena is requested at the grand feast of Abodo Ao as a guest of the crown prince. Villagers gasped. Mama Tayo dropped her calabash, and Fahintala and Ngozi choked on their breakfast. "Me?" Zena asked, emerging from the kitchen, hands dusty with yam flour. The messenger bowed. "You." Mama Tayo hissed. "What will you wear?" "Ashes." Fahintala snorted. "Maybe borrow a wrapper from the market floor." Zena retreated to her corner room, where she kept her mother's loom threads in a worn gourd bowl. Night after night, by palm oil lamp, she wove brown, gold, and indigo threads dyed from crushed leaves. Her fingers bled, but she smiled. This gown would be hers, earned, not borrowed. On feast day, trumpets echoed through Abodo Ao. Nobles arrived in carved ebony carriages, stepping onto marble floors in silk and gold-threaded velvet. Lady Ugochi, the queen's cousin, sneered, "Let's see if the prince's pet has fleas." A hush fell as Zena entered, her hand-woven gown earthy and luminous, exuding quiet dignity. No jewels, just confidence. Tayo-Ade rose. "Zena, you look royal." Lady Ugochi scoffed. "So this is the girl? A village weaver." Zena turned, calm. "Yes, my lady. I'm a weaver, of fabric and my own future." The room went silent, then erupted in applause. Zena danced with Tayo-Ade beneath gold-leaf lanterns. "You are strength wrapped in thread," he said. "You've shown them true royalty." "I just wanted to be myself," she replied. He smiled. "That's what made you unforgettable." Later on the balcony, Zena whispered, "I don't need diamonds. I am the diamond, polished by fire and worthy of the crown." The curse. The palace was quiet the morning after the feast. Zena sat by the garden, watching doves flutter. Mama Ife approached. "Tread carefully, child. When the prince chooses a rose, the thorns whisper." In the noble quarters, Lady Ugochi met with allies. "He insulted our bloodline, a weaver over us?" A noble chuckled darkly. "And he'll marry her." Lady Ugochi snarled, "Not if she vanishes first." In Orenla, Fahintala packed her mother's finest wrapper. "If Zena can walk that palace, so can I." She arrived with kola nuts and cloth, but hid a vial of sleeproot powder from Igero's bush doctor. That evening, at a private council dinner, Zena's vision blurred as she lifted her goblet. The walls shifted. She collapsed into Tayo-Ade's arms. "Call the healers," he shouted. Mama Ife caught Fahintala slipping away. "What did you do?" Fahintala stammered, her eyes betraying her. "Gods!" Mama Ife screamed. "She brought the curse." In the palace temple, Baba Osu, a blind oracle, sat beside Zena's unconscious body, placing cowrie shells by her head. "This girl is a lioness clothed in cotton, but jealous mouths have summoned shadow spirits." He dropped salt into a clay bowl of fire, and a shadow leapt. She must face the enemy in the spirit world at Apon Stream, where her hope first rose. Tayo-Ade clenched his fists. "How do we save her?" "She must face her curse where it began," Baba Osu said. The prince declared, "I'll take her myself to Apon Stream." In her dream, Zena stood in a dark forest, whispers taunting, "You were never meant to rise." But Tayo-Ade's voice called, "Zena, stay with me." A light pulsed, burning the shadows back. She whispered, "I'm not done." The journey to Apon Stream. At dawn, Tayo-Ade, dressed as a hunter, led a convoy with Baba Osu, Mama Ife, 2 guards, and Zena on a woven stretcher. They took the back road, dust and sweat marking their path. In Zena's mind, a battle raged by a dark lake, shadows whispering, "He'll forget you." But Tayo-Ade's voice grew stronger, a light pulsing brighter. At a sacred tree, a woman in white appeared, her voice echoing, "You carry one who walks between worlds. What are you willing to give?" "Everything," Tayo-Ade replied. "Touch the stream not as a prince, but as the man who saw her." She vanished into moths scattering in the sun. At Apon Stream, the air was still. Tayo-Ade placed Zena on the grass, Baba Osu marking her forehead with sacred chalk. Kneeling by her ear, the prince whispered, "Zena, it was here I first saw you, your strength, your silence, your beauty without decoration. You are my heart. Come back." He placed stream water on her lips. For a moment, nothing. Then Zena gasped, her fingers twitched, and her eyes fluttered open. "You came back to the beginning," she said. He smiled through tears. "Because that's where you started everything." That night, by the stream, they sat under firelight, sharing silence and a future. Mama Ife cried, the guards shouted in joy, and Baba Osu smiled. Some journeys, they knew, must go backward for destiny to leap forward. The Royal Declaration. Obodo Ao shimmered with golden banners for the royal feast, where Tayo-Ade would announce his bride. His actions, Mama Ife replied. Zena stood before a mirror, her gown blending village weaving and palace satin, a river stone pendant around her neck. Mama Ife adjusted her scarf. You wear it like a queen. I don't know what he'll say, Zena said nervously. He's already said it with his actions, Mama Ife replied. In the royal hall, 1,000 nobles, chiefs, and merchants watched. Elder Onwana warned, we hope your decision reflects tradition. Tayo-Ade stepped forward. I saw beauty, grace, wealth, but I searched for truth, a heart untouched by greed. Zina of Oranla, I choose you, because when I was a stranger, you were already royalty in spirit. Will you walk beside me as Queen of Obodo Ao? Zena stepped forward, tears glistening. I am not the daughter of nobles, but I've known love, loss, and hope. If you see me, then yes, I'll walk beside you. He placed a gold circlet on her head, a sign of her becoming. The hall erupted, though some nobles, like Lady Ugochi, protested in silence. That night, in the palace garden, Zena and Tayo-Ade sat beneath a tree. They'll still come for you, he said. Let them, she replied. I've survived more than they know. He smiled. I didn't rescue you. I know, she said. I rescued myself. You just saw me. The wedding and the war. The palace was transformed with gold cloth and wild orchids for the wedding. Zena's gown, hand-woven with indigo beads, glinted under lanterns. Mama Ife wiped a tear. From dust to glory. Will they accept me? Zena asked. The gods already have, Mama Ife said. In Oranla, children painted Zena's name on calabashes, but Fahintala tore yam leaves in anger. She thinks she's a queen now? Ngozi said softly, maybe we were the villains. In a stone house, Lady Ugochi plotted. They crown her tomorrow, and nobles will bow to a servant. A cloaked former guard whispered, everything is ready. At the wedding, no one will suspect. She smiled darkly. Let the drums beat, and let the blood follow. The wedding began under morning sun, nobles and villagers filling marble seats. Zena walked to the altar, radiant. As the priest raised his hand for vows, a scream split the air, a guard collapsed, blood soaking his robe. Arrows flew from a rooftop. Tayo-Ade shielded Zena. Get her inside. Zena resisted. I'm not leaving you. Baba Osu struck his staff, the earth trembling. Show yourself, serpent. A cloaked guard emerged, dagger in hand. She cannot wear the crown. Zena stepped forward. What did I take from you? A throne meant for nobles, he spat. I earned it, with scars, silence, courage, she said. He lunged, but Fahintala threw herself between them, striking the dagger away. Not this time, she said. The priest resumed, calm. Where love conquers death and truth stands against betrayal, the gods have blessed this union. Zena and Tayo-Ade exchanged royal beads, the drums roaring. Zena stood on the balcony, crowned queen of Obodo Ao. My true crown was forged in struggle and the stream, she said. Let this reign be for justice, for every child who dreams beyond the dust. Queen Zena's legacy. The royal court rose in silence for Queen Zena. She sat beside King Tayo-Ade, her hands never idle. She visited forgotten villages, walked barefoot with widows, and opened schools for girls who thought they were too poor to dream. She founded a weaving guild in Oranla, employing over 200 women, built village wells, and passed laws protecting orphans. Her queen's court included midwives, market leaders, and former servants, redefining royalty with empathy. In Oranla, Mama Tayo's shop lost favor. One day, Zena arrived in a royal carriage, kneeling before her stepmother. You shaped me with fire, but I carry no bitterness. She handed her tools, not gold. Start again with kindness. Mama Tayo wept. On her coronation anniversary, Zena returned to Apon Stream, now in royal grace. Sitting beneath the same tree, she said to Tayo-Ade, "Beginnings matter. Here, the world saw me, but I already knew who I was." Across a Bodo Ao, Griot's told her story, there was a girl the world tried to forget, but she made herself unforgettable. Children named dolls Zina, boys played Prince of Apon Stream. In her final speech, Zena said, "We cannot choose how we're born, but we can choose how we live. Kindness over cruelty, wisdom over noise, service over status. I was not born in a palace, but true royalty is built in the soul." Her legacy was not just love or power, but a kingdom where every forgotten soul could rise. This story is dedicated to every girl who has been told you don't belong. May you build kingdoms with your truth. If Queen Zena's story touched your heart, like, share and subscribe to OIM's Folklore. Drop a comment. What part of Zena's journey inspired you the most? See you in the next series, where African heroines rise again.
Hello guys, I hope you enjoyed our stories. Please hit the like button, leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel.